Klopp might ruthlessly dump Henderson for Ruben Neves. Liverpool manager Jürgen Klopp will try desperately to find a solution to the club's woes after a campaign that lacked cohesion, fluidity and intensity that went along with the DNA buried under the formerly German manager at Anfield. The recent upsetting defeats against Brentford and Brighton and Hove Albion in the Premier League, followed by a disappointing 2-2 draw against Wolverhampton Wanderers in the FA Cup, have been quite upsetting. The results produced a clear sense of anxiety, given the immediate future of the Merseyside club. Density has been swallowed up like life from a flower in a blizzard. Liverpool are indeed battling in the bitter cold, and the once hard-working midfielder is now struggling to take the reins and dictate the game almost every time they step onto the pitch. Club captain Jordan Henderson has become a recognizable criminal for not being the stubborn and unwavering bundle of energy he once was. Klopp may duly have to dive into the transfer market for a solution, and Wolves' Ruben Neves could be the man for the job. The Portuguese powerhouse could encourage Liverpool to return to the transfer market this month, according to the Mirror. Neves' contract expires in 2024. Described as outstanding by Tim Spiers, Neves is a lovable figure in the Midlands. A player who captivates audiences and imposes physicality with his technical prowess, boldly combining elegance to serve as the center of the club's efforts since winning the championship with a stunning 99-point pull 5 years ago, and retaining their top-flight status ever since. Neves, who has played 235 games for the Wolves so far and earned £58,000 a week, scored 28 goals and provided 12 assists from the heart of the team. Indeed, he ran the game with his innate ball-playing skills and adjusted football intelligence. The 25-year-old has scored 4 goals in 18 Premier League games this season. With his hard-working presence, stubborn determination and the dominance of the midfield game, he proved crucial in his struggle to stave off the relegation threat. If he signs for Liverpool, who need a remedy in this position, he could re-inject the evaporating prowess of formless stars like Fabrizio into the Reds and make Liverpool tough contenders again. At £140,000 a week, Henderson sums up the woes that are currently befalling Liverpool. Henderson's averages of 0.9 tackles, 0.3 gaps and 0.7 interceptions are weak compared to Neves. The Wolves star had 2.6 tackles, 2.4 gaps and 1.4 interceptions per game. This may seem to be due to the disparity in quality between the two teams. But the apparent chasm is actually little more than a mark on the ground. Alisson has had to make 63 saves in the league this term, compared to Jose Sa's 55, and the Wolves have scored just 2 more goals than the beleaguered Reds. At the moment, this is indicative of the defensive weaknesses plaguing the Liverpool team. If Neves can inspire the Wolves to come up with something that won't be a surprise win against the Merseysiders tonight and Henderson stays too quiet again, it may be time for Klopp to consider phasing out his captain with a move for the Portuguese dynamo. Installing Ruben Neves in Henderson's place can throw dead ground in the midfield and bring dynamics to the fore. The transfer of Ruben Neves gives a very meaningful clue, given that Liverpool have not been able to regain control of the midfield in most games this season. The manager said Liverpool have a 19-year-old loaner who will soon play for the A-team. Young Liverpool loaner Conor Bradley looks good enough to make a regular start at Anfield. The opinion of Ian Evatt, Bradley's manager at Bolton Wanderers, confirms this notion. Evatt has been consistent in his compliments for Bradley all season long. Speaking to Bolton News, the manager said he really believes that the 19-year-old will continue to shine at Liverpool. I would be optimistic about keeping Bradley next season, but I really believe he will play for Liverpool and play regularly, the better, said Evatt. He is constantly improving and improving. We would have been hopeful that we could get another year of his training, but I totally understand if Liverpool need to keep him there to play for them. Evatt went on to provide an overview of what he saw in Bradley and what impressed him greatly. The best thing about Conor since arriving has been his attitude despite being a fantastic young player. Maybe he's not a muscular player, but he's curvy, strong and aggressive in the way he plays, the tackle and the press. His understanding of how and when to press is excellent, and that can be a great gem for Liverpool and their coaching team, he said. Evatt might be right about Bradley, except for one small detail. The young player is battling Trent Alexander-Arnold for a spot on the team. After Trent's struggles this season, this may not be as one-sided as previously thought. But whatever his current form, the 24-year-old is still one of the most important players for Liverpool. It would be interesting to have Bradley come and take his place. The Bolton man has some advantages as he is 5 years younger than Trent. But he has time to show how good he is at top football. Still, it's possible for Liverpool to keep Northern Ireland as a reserve next season. The Reds signed Calvin Ramsey earlier this season and are scheduled to sit behind Trent Alexander-Arnold. However, the young player suffered a long-term injury after his arrival and was not ready. He later joined the team but still could not find time. Especially given Arnold's poor form this season, it's definitely important to have a player behind him that can compete. Maybe Conor Bradley can take on that role next season. He really shined when he was at Bolton. If Ramsey's problems continue in the pre-season this summer, keeping Bradley at the club will be a very sensible decision. But even then, he will have taken a big step from League One to playing for Liverpool. Bradley has done well in his 5 games for the Reds ace, that's true enough. There's still a long way to go, though, until he's accepted as a permanent part of Jürgen Klopp's roster. For now, there is no need to put undue pressure on the teenager. It's imperative that Conor continues to do what he's doing and wins Klopp at camp next season. It was Jürgen Klopp who urged Liverpool to sign Darwin Nunez, and here's the reason why he's at Anfield. According to the information, Liverpool manager Jürgen Klopp urged forward Darwin Nunez to sign while his club was at Benfica. During the summer, the Reds secured the signing of the 23-year-old attacker in a deal worth £64 million. The negotiations seemed to be progressing very quickly and the Uruguayan was clearly identified as the main target for the Merseyside team. It turned out that it was Klopp who wanted Nunez in Liverpool in this transfer. The German manager, who initially pushed for his transfer, is the biggest reason the striker is currently at Anfield. This demonstrates the increased control Klopp has at the club, who previously relied on Michael Edwards to set his transfer targets. Despite facing criticism since joining the club, Nunez showed great promise with his red jersey. The Uruguayan national team player has recorded 5 goals and 2 assists in the Premier League so far this season. He also followed this performance with 3 goals in 6 Champions League fixtures. It highlights a strong goal record at the highest level of football. But what Nunez brings to the field is what makes him so special. Possessing incredible speed and massive brute strength, the 23-year-old is causing absolute chaos for the team's defenses. Accelerating according to its height and dragging the ball towards the defense causes the opponent's defense line to deteriorate. It is extremely difficult to catch him. It makes life a lot easier for the rest of Liverpool's offense. There's always the option to send the ball behind the opponent's back line, so all Klopp needs right now is to have more midfielders to take advantage of this tactic.